Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Still Lollipop and today we're going to be covering all of the changes and updates to the Trek Dual Sport lineup from 2021 to 2022. That's right, the 2022 Dual Sports have been released, so in this video I'll go over what's new on all the bikes and make these tables that I'll show at the end of the video to display all of those changes in one place, and I'll also give my thoughts on all of these updates at the end. And if you are interested in videos like these, I've made several comparisons on a ton of different Trek models, including comparisons on the Dual Sport bikes to the FX bikes as well as the Marlin bikes. But for a quick background, the Dual Sports are Trek's versatile hybrid bikes, and they're designed to go on the road and on light trails, as they do have suspension forks and wider gravel-ready tires. There are 4 models in the lineup, from the Dual Sport 1 to the Dual Sport 4, but currently only the DS1, 2, and 3 have received a 2022 model. With that, let's get into these 2022 changes, starting with the Dual Sport 1. So in 2021, this bike was priced at $630 US or 495 British pounds, but the new model has increased a bit to $650. And currently, these bikes have not been released in the UK, so I do not have the official prices in pounds, but of course, I will try my best to add updates in the comment section down below. And next, we can talk about the color changes for the new year, as the 2021 DS1 came in 2 colors: Trek Black with silver accents, and Viper Red with white accents. The new bike then replaces both of these with Quicksilver with red accents, Lithium Gray with black accents and some blue touches, and a Satin Deep Dark Blue with silver accents. But for the component changes, the rear hub has been swapped out from the Formula DC31 hub to the Formula DC22 hub, and this new hub just uses a Shimano 8 to 10 speed free hub rather than the 2021 bike's 6 to 8 speed freewheel body, which means that the new bike now accepts cassettes instead of freewheels. But I'll explain what this means more when I discuss the only other change for 2022 on this bike, which is the entire drivetrain. So in 2021, the Dual Sport 1 used a mixed drivetrain with Shimano Tourney and Altus components, which are the lowest level drivetrain parts from Shimano. This system had 3 gears in the front and 7 in the back, for a total of 21 different speeds. The new drivetrain simplifies this by going to a 2x8 drivetrain, so there are only 2 gears in the front now, but 8 in the rear for a total of 16 speeds, which is still plenty for commuting and general riding purposes. The new bike's drivetrain still uses the lower end Tourney and Altus components, but going to a 2x system means that the bike will have significantly less issues with the drivetrain and will require less maintenance overall. For the specific drivetrain parts, we can go through each one now and I'll explain the changes. So the shifters are the same, but the new bike just uses 2 and 8 speed shifters instead of the 3 and 7 speed shifters. Then the front derailleur has been updated from the Shimano Tourney TY510 to the TY710, which just works for the 2x drivetrain. The rear derailleur has remained the same, as it is still the Shimano Altus derailleur that shifts fairly smoothly. Then the bigger changes begin with the crankset, which had 3 gears in 2021 with 28 teeth on the smallest chainring, then 38 teeth on the middle, and 48 on the largest. For 2022, there are only 2 gears in the front, with 30 teeth on the smaller and 46 teeth on the larger gear. These cranksets are then paired with the rear gears. The 2021 DS1 used a 14 to 34 tooth freewheel, while the new bike upgrades to a Shimano 11 to 32 tooth cassette. Freewheels use less expensive components than cassettes and are typically narrower in the gear ranges, which leads to less efficient pedaling, so the cassette upgrade for 2022 is nice to see. And then taking an overall look at these drivetrains, the 2022 Dual Sport 1 has harder gears for pedaling faster, so it will be a faster bike overall, but it does lose out on some of the easier gears for pedaling uphill easier. However, the gear ratios are still pretty good, and this drivetrain is a clear upgrade in my opinion from the 3x system from last year. And finally, the last difference we can discuss is the weight of each bike. So in 2021, the Dual Sport 1 weighed in at 30.26 pounds in a size medium, while the 2022 model now weighs less at 29.85 pounds. But now let's move on to the Dual Sport 2. So this bike in 2021 costed $730 or 600 pounds, while the new bike costs a little bit more at $750. For the color changes, the old bike came in two colors, Mulsanne blue with Volt green accents, and a metallic gunmetal. The 2022 bike replaces these two with three new colors, which are Viper red with white accents, Mulsanne blue with silver accents, and Trek black with silver accents. For the components, the only change to this bike for 2022 is to the drivetrain as well. So for the overview, the 2021 DS2 used a mixed drivetrain with Shimano Tourney, Altus, and Acera parts, while the 2022 model ditches the lowest end Tourney parts for Altus and Acera components. And once again, we see a great upgrade from a 3x8 drivetrain with 24 speeds to a 2x9 drivetrain with 18 speeds. But for the drivetrain parts, the 2021 DualSport 2 used Shimano Altus M315 shifters, which work well, but the new bike makes a slight upgrade to the Altus M2010 shifters, which are just a bit smoother. Then the front derailleur has been swapped out from the Shimano Tourney in 2021 to the Acera, which is much smoother and quicker. And the rear derailleur has been swapped out from the Shimano Acera to the Shimano Altus M2000, which should be a bit more durable. For the gears, the front crankset has the same change as the DualSport 1, so the 28 to 38 to 48 tooth crankset has been replaced with the 30 to 46 tooth crank. Then the rear cassettes are pretty similar, though the new bike has a slightly wider range from 11 to 36 teeth instead of 11 to 32 teeth. Taking an overall look at these drivetrains, the old bike did have harder gears for going faster, but the new bike does have easier gears for pedaling uphill. However, I still believe that the new drivetrain is an upgrade since going to a 2x system will make the bike much more reliable and easy to work on. And after those changes, we do see a weight difference in this bike as well, but it actually increases a bit from 29.05 pounds to 29.15 pounds. And finally, we can talk about the 2022 DualSport 3. Okay, so in 2021, the DS3 was priced at $930 or 750 pounds, and just like the other bikes, it has increased $20 to $950. For the colors, the 2021 bike came in the color Factory Orange with black accents, as well as lithium gray with some blue touches, and this color is actually now available on the 2022 DualSport 1 that we saw before. But the 2022 DualSport 3 now replaces these two colors with dark aquatic with white accents, matte Trek black with some red touches, and this color is actually the same color as the 2021 DualSport 4. And then the last color option for the DS3 is Rage Red with silver accents. For the components, we have a similar theme going around, so the only change is to the drivetrain again. In this case, we have a pretty substantial change from the Shimano Acera and Alivio 2x9 drivetrain with 18 speeds to a mainly Shimano Deore 1x10 drivetrain with only one gear in the front now for a total of 10 speeds. The two Acera shifters for the 2021 bike worked well, but they have been replaced with one Deore shifter for the new bike, which just works better with the 1x10 drivetrain and has a more ergonomic trigger. The 2021 bike used a front derailleur, which worked well enough, but the new bike removes this one completely, which is nice because there's less maintenance required overall for the 2022 model. The rear derailleur was a Shimano Alivio in 2021, which is a good mid-range derailleur, but the Deore M5120 on the new bike is much better since it has a clutch mechanism, which essentially prevents the chain from falling off of the bike, skipping gears, and making a lot of noise in general. For the gears, the front crankset has been swapped out from the Shimano 30 to 46 tooth crank to the ProWheel brand 40 tooth crankset. Then for the rear cassettes, the 2021 bike had an 11 to 36 tooth Shimano cassette, while the new bike goes to the Shimano Deore 11 to 46 tooth cassette for a much wider range that is necessary as there is only one gear in the front now. In terms of gear ratios, the 2021 bike had a slightly easier gear for pedaling uphill and harder gears for pedaling faster, but the new bike does have the benefit of only using one shifter and no front derailleur, so there are less complications and it makes the DualSport 3 more durable for 2022. Now I will quickly mention here that this new drivetrain is not the same one on the 2021 DualSport 4, even though it looks very similar. The DS4 from 2021 uses the Shimano Dior 1x12 and has more upgraded parts, so that bike is still a good upgrade over the 2022 Dualsport 3. But changing the drivetrain does affect the weight of the DS3 more significantly, as it has decreased about a pound from 29.66 pounds to 28.68 pounds. But those are all of the updates and changes to the Trek Dualsport lineup from 2021 to 2022. As always, I will be showing you the completed tables right now, and I'll of course add corrections and updates to this video in the comments section below. But in terms of my thoughts, I think all of these 2022 changes are good, and for only a $20 update in price for each model, I think it's definitely worth it to get the 2022 bikes over the 2021 models, if you are able to find them anywhere. In some cases, like I mentioned, you do lose out on some of the high and low end gears for going fast or for going uphill, but I still believe that the benefits of going to a simpler drivetrain should be considered, especially since most bike brands these days are moving toward one-by drivetrains for mountain bikes and for hybrids. But those are just my thoughts, and I'm definitely open to hearing about yours in the comment section below because I do read every comment. So with that, thank you all so much for watching, and remember to keep biking.